So I know it's called Beers with Bands, but I'm more like tequila headspace today.
That is totally fine. I almost made a rum and coke for this, and then I was like, no, I gotta live up to the name for this episode. So, I, you're totally good. How are things going?
Great. It's been, I think, the best release weekend I've ever had.
Hell yeah, yeah. Because you've been pretty busy. I know we'll talk about stuff when we fully get started, but yeah, you've been.
Yeah.
I mean, song came out on the 25th. You did the news spot. Like it's got to be a whirlwind weekend for you right now.
Yeah. I literally woke up from a nap. I set an alarm at like 6:10 to wake up so I didn't sound like super groggy. So we drove to Denver, played the show, woke up the next morning, went to Colorado Springs, did the news, and then drove back home like within the same like 2-day period.
Damn. Um, well, other than that, I will crack my beer, do the little intro, and then I'll bring you in.
Perfect.
All right, sweet. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I'm sitting down with Taylor, aka Pure XTC. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. Like, got the long weekend going. Like, normally I would be having like the Sunday scaries right now, but instead I'm just doing a fun podcast and I don't have to work tomorrow.
Right? That's the best thing about 3-day weekends or holiday weekends.
Yeah.
I know, like, I don't have to do shit tomorrow. I think I'm actually recording another podcast tomorrow, so I just really packed my my open weekend with fun stuff.
I love that.
Like I mentioned, you are Taylor, but your musical project is Pure XTC. Kind of for people that aren't aware, it's like an alternative, kind of like synth punk rock project, and you are every member of Pure XTC. It is you. You are it.
Yes, and it's been my favorite thing. Like, I'm actually like such an introverted person, and it's so nice being able to just do everything just in solitary. Like, oh, I feel like doing this today. Okay, I'll write the song today. Like, there's no like trying to coordinate people. It's just, what do I feel like doing today? What do I want to
Right.
write? What do I want this to do? Or, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you say that you're this introverted person because on your YouTube, I watched the set from the Kansas City Pride, and just your stage presence during that, like you would never know that you had any introvertedness in you. Like you're up there, just you're just manning that stage. Like you're your full presence going right there.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened when I went on stage that day. That was my first time ever like singing or playing guitar live ever. That was like Pure XTC's first show. And
Really?
yeah, I had no idea how I was going to take it. Like, I've been a drummer my whole life. So like I've done big shows, but I'm not the one like up front, like standing up in front of people. So like when I went on stage, I felt like I just like something clicked. I like kind of blacked out and just did it. And then I got off and I'm like, whoa, this is the weirdest feeling ever. Like weirdest moment of my life.
Now, with you like growing up and mainly being like a drummer, like how hard was it to, you know, obviously we're kind of like glanced over, but how hard is it for you to come out from behind the kit, pick up this guitar, and then just do this whole nother project where you are the center person?
It's kind of liberating and scary, but exciting at the same time. The transition was not too bad. I think every time I play a show, I'm still like, oh my God, all I have is a pedal board and a guitar. And that's been like the best thing ever. But having a background in rhythm made it a lot easier to like transition to guitar. I used to play in like really bad bands like in high school as a guitar player. So I had a little bit of, experience, but not a lot.
Okay. So it wasn't like you were just coming out and finally doing guitar stuff after the previous
Yeah.
projects. You had a glimpse of it before, but now it's full front. it's just you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one cool thing that I mean, like we were talking about, this is a holiday weekend, but also with this holiday weekend, you've had a crazy action-packed weekend. I know we were kind of talking before the episode started, but you released your latest single, "Lighter," on the 25th. Um, I mean, we're 3 days after that at the time of this recording. What's the response been on this? I know you already said it's been great so far, but like dive deep into it. Like, what's it been
Yeah.
like?
It's been my like fastest growing song as far as like playlists and things like that go. Like I just got added to new and alternative on Apple Music, and that's been awesome. It's very weird seeing my name like amongst like Portugal the Man and Foo Fighters. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, and then I took a nap to celebrate. Like it's been fantastic. But yeah, like since the song came out, people have been like really into it. I know it's different, so I'm happy that it's getting the response it's getting.
Yeah, no, it was good to listen to. It was fun to listen to. I know I also went back today and like listened to even like the initial EP that you put out in 2021 and kind of, get the
Oh,
full feel for everything for Pure XTC starting then to now. And you do see that change in kind of like lyrical content between your previous stuff to this one, especially like even the most recent singles where this one's more I would say it's more of like a love song, love ode, where
yeah,
some of the other stuff is more um, I'm trying to think of the right word, more on the darker themes where it's like talking about like
yeah,
an ex and like especially like how we were talking about like the song you performed during Kansas City Pride, where that one's really
yeah,
a chop at your ex. This one's on the complete opposite side where basically you're talking to someone that you truly love and they're lighting up your
yeah,
life.
yeah. I talk about Pure Ecstasy like she's a different person. I'm like, well, she was a little bit more bitter in her early days. I feel like those songs were like weird things like that I was kind of harboring from the past that I just needed to like clear out. And
Mm.
then I could write the songs that Pure Ecstasy, I feel like it's a weird way to describe it. I think I found my footing in my second EP. I figured out, I think, exactly the kind of music I wanted to make and like what was natural. Those other songs, I felt like I just needed to get my feet wet as a songwriter. And, it's just some weird old feelings that I had to just clear out.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's everyone's like first initial EP or EPs, where they're kind of just getting the footing. But is I mean obviously Lighter just is still fresh at the time of this recording, but is what's like this leading up to? Is there another EP in the works that's going to be coming out soon, or what's going on?
I'm just kind of writing them as I go. I'm working on a new one right now that I'm pretty excited about, and it should be coming out probably like I would say July.
Okay.
Um, right now, I'm just calling it Mood Ring. I don't know what it will actually be called. It's still like I'm just riding on the seat of my pants. I think that's the saying. Just seeing what comes out, seeing what happens. Just playing as many shows as I can.
Yeah. Well, is this new song going to be kind of in the same vein as Lighter? Is that kind of like the more trajectory that you see yourself going?
I think so because I've always been such a guitar fan. And a lot of my older songs, like they don't really have a lot of guitar.
Mm.
I think mostly because I was so new at guitar that there were certain things I'm like, if it's not going to sound like this, then I don't want it at all. I'll write it on a synth. And now that I have more experience with guitar and I'm like really getting more into that, expect a lot more guitar heavy songs.
Okay, sweet, sweet. Um, does that now with more guitar heavy songs? Are we still gonna be able to expect a decent amount of synth in all of these songs as well?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
just had to
Yeah.
make sure it's not going away.
No, never, never, never. That'll never happen.
Okay. Um, well, I don't want to fully leave off with Lighter because I know that's the big moment going on right now.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, it's kind of like this nice like love song to someone. Um, with it also, you got to do something really cool that not a lot of people get to do at all, and you got to perform it on the local Colorado News down in Colorado Springs. Um, like you performed that one, and then I think you also said you performed Shadow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How was that experience getting to do that? I mean, on TV. Not. I don't know if they broadcast nationally, if it's just more local, but like how was that experience to do that?
Ooh, it was really funny. I remember like freaking out that morning. My wife was with me and we were in like the conference room at Fox. And I was startled because they're like, hey, you can play two songs instead of one, right? And I had been like practicing the hell out of Lighter and really nothing else for the last month, like to get ready for it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God. Cause I already had anxiety. I'm like such an anxious person. So I'm just like sitting there like sweating bullets. And once I got up there, like kind of what I was talking about with my first show, like I just kind of like blacked out. I just blacked out. I just did it. I just like went into that mode and I was okay. And then I had like the biggest adrenaline dump after the show. Like just like literally like back into my seat. And I'm like, oh my God, I can finally relax now.
That's. I mean, that's so amazing that you're able to get that opportunity to do that. Like, how did that come about? Did they kind of reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
So I've been kind of like booking like random weekends out of this month.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was booking for Denver, I was kind of like sifting through Instagram, like looking for like local things and the people to reach out to there as far as press and things like that go. And I actually ended up following Nova, the guy who is the host of the show. And we just like chit chatted, like we're both Chiefs fans and whatever. And he's like, you should come on the show. And I was like, okay, like I'll be in Colorado in May. And we just booked it over the winter. And I'm like, okay, this gives me some time to like freak out and like go through my anxiety and nerves and stuff before it. And I was fine up until like the night before at the Denver show. I think I was like getting nervous for the news like at that show. And it was just like a whole thing. It was a whole thing. But a couple tequila shots helped.
They tend to help
Yeah.
always, so that's good. No, that's awesome that you were able to meet with like connect with someone, kind of like how we've been mutuals on Twitter for quite a while,
Yeah.
and we're finally doing one of these, and you were able to kind of do the same thing with getting on the news to do all that. Like I know some of my friends have done it in like their local town back home, and like it's just a whole crazy experience to like see people doing what they love on a news segment that's not just like, oh, like I'm Bill and I do gardening over here, just come check this out. It's like, no, it's people that like are doing music and like showcasing that to the world and the community.
Yeah. Oh, it was wild. Like I'm still like, oh my God about it mentally.
Now with that recording, was it just like a record in the morning and then it'll kind of go out in the afternoon, or is it out there like probably on their YouTube that people are wanting to check it out now when this comes out?
Yeah, it'll actually be on my YouTube. So you
Okay.
can just head over to my station and watch it there.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll get to links later in the episode, but I'll have all that stuff in the description. We'll kind of go over it too, um, and then kind of backtracking a little bit more on the day before, like you said, in Denver, you played that show, and it was kind of Lighter's single release show.
Yeah.
Was there a specific meaning behind doing it in Denver? I know you're originally from Baltimore, you're living in Kansas City now, and then kind of doing Denver out in this Wild West. What was the thought behind picking that?
Honestly, I am just rogue. Like once I start get going, I'm like, oh, I booked a show in Omaha. What if I made it like a little like weekend, every weekend of like May, I'll just like do a different show or like something like that. And I just kind of started going. I didn't really have too much logic behind it besides like I would like to visit Denver and we have friends there and it would just be a fun time to release the song because I had the song ready to go and I'm like, when should I release it? Like, what's a significant time? Oh, do it while you have a couple shows.
Yeah, I mean that's a good move rather than release, like that was the shitty thing about like the pandemic. Everyone's like sitting on this music, like, well, we have to put it out. So you
Yeah.
release it, and you can't if you don't play around it, even just like one or two shows, like no one gives a shit. It seems like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so
They're
I
like
mean that's
releasing it for what? Like, is there
yeah,
going to
exactly,
be an album? Is there going to be a tour? Like, what's the deal? People
right,
always want something else.
yeah. No, that's awesome. Like Denver was always so back when I used to kind of run with my friends and did TMing. Denver was always a spot that we wanted to play. We could never find something that worked, but
Yeah.
we also kind of like how you said you picked Denver because you wanted to go to Denver. You have friends there. That's how we kind of routed our later tours, where it's like
Yeah.
we're going to be on the road for like 2 to 3 weeks. We want to see as many friends as we can. Let's route it through all of their cities
Yep.
to make it more fun and like like yeah, the show is going to be a good time, but it's also the hangs that you have
Yeah,
around that.
for sure. And it helps because they want to come out and support. So, like you'll have some friends in your corner at the show, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's always a plus. I know, like we have Colorado Springs is near and dear to my heart. We have a lot of friends down there, so it was always nice that we'd have a handful of friends that would roll out, and then it wasn't just like us five dudes from Iowa that are just like not knowing anybody. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
always great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to come
Uh,
up to Iowa soon. I think that'd be a good move. Like I play Omaha all the time.
yeah, I think you do well in like Iowa City, probably for sure. Like there's not Uh, Des Moines has a decent scene too, but Iowa City is like a college town, so there's always like
Okay.
people ready to go out and like have a good time.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. uh, I know you said you're doing like these weekenders in May. Like, what do you have planned coming up for the rest of this summer?
I'm going to be doing the Pacific Northwest. Very excited about that. In September, like the first week or two. Um, I've always wanted to go, so I planned it. I have planted. That's funny. I sound like I'm already from there. I'm planting trees. No, I just planned it around wanting to go there. And I lucked out. I found a really good agent out there who booked everything, got the locals together for me. So it's going to be a good time.
Hell yeah. Now, for these people that are going to be hitting up these Pacific Northwest shows, um, if they may or may not have watched, a couple of the live sets that you have out, what can they expect, or what can anyone expect from a Pure XTC live performance?
Ooh, so I'm pretty excited. I found a drummer recently that I vibe with, and that'll be like my first tour with a drummer. So I'm very excited about that. And I'll probably be doing a little drumming too. So that'll be fun. But yeah, just expect a good time. Like it's like Pride Light.
Okay. Now, with you now finding like a drummer to tour with, like how are I know because again in the live performance that I watched, you had that drummer. But like how are your shows going currently? Were they just you, a guitar, electric guitar, and then that's kind of just backing tracks for everything else?
Yeah. And
Okay,
it's been great. Like that's worked really well for me so far. Like I bring my wife to all of my shows, so it's really fun. Like we just fly. So like one day, it'll be music, it'll be business, all of that stuff. And then we do a date day in the city that we're in. And we do that for every show that we're, playing out of town. Like last year, we did California. And
nice.
it was like just a few months after we'd gotten married, so we did it kind of like a tour slash honeymoon. So we got to do like an off day in San Diego and Palm Springs, and I think Venice was probably our favorite. So that's been my favorite part about doing a solo project, and like I can just adventure with my person. It's very low key.
Yeah.
So I'll probably still be doing shows like that too, but for this run, I'm excited to have a drummer.
That's that's an awesome way to do it, to bring like your partner out with you and then not make it just like work the entire time. It's like we're
Yeah,
gonna we're gonna play these shows, yeah, but we're also gonna like experience all these towns and cities and just have a good time on our own that we
yeah,
normally wouldn't get a chance to have.
exactly. I feel like it keeps me like very fresh for shows too. Like I don't get that burnout because I'm also like feeding and charging like my soul at the same time.
Right. Man, that's a perfect way to do it. What was like your favorite part about going like you said Venice is probably your favorite. Like what was the best part about like checking out Venice?
Gosh, we went to the beach, obviously. We got edibles at this little store, like right off the little boardwalk. That was amazing. I think we had watched the skaters for like an hour or two, just like entranced in the skaters. But we just chilled. Like it was just so comfortable. The beach was perfect. Like it's warm, the breeze, everything is just relaxing. So I think that was probably my favorite part, like just doing nothing in a very pretty place.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. I have that's on one of my lists is to hit the Venice boardwalk, and I haven't gotten to do
Yes.
that one yet. I have friends that live in San Diego, so I get to experience San Diego every so often.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
but yeah, Venice is. I mean, pictures and videos can only do so much. I want to experience it for sure.
Yeah, you got to do that. San Diego is really cool. Like I wish I would have went out more. We were in this area. I think we were in like retirement village and we secretly loved it. We ended up at this weird like old swingers um hotel restaurant. Like it was just really pretty. It was like sailboats everywhere, but like the amount of like fresh old people there was like truly terrifying.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I would stay there again. Like it was beautiful, but just we had some experiences.
Were there a lot of like pineapples everywhere too, or I hear that's like
No.
big in the swinger community.
Yeah, I'm like, at least I would have been forewarned. No one was ordering pineapple. There wasn't like pineapple decor. Oh, triggering.
Oh man. But oh, I mean, you obviously it wasn't that bad. You said you'd go back.
Absolutely.
Like the
The
10 out of 10
entertainment
service.
value.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the food was great there. The entertainment, top notch.
Fuck yeah. Um, Obviously, with going to the Pacific Northwest, I mean that's on a lot of people's bucket list. That's also on mine. Man, I sound sad. I haven't gotten out of the Midwest in quite a few years. But
It's been
like,
a
what
weird
are
few years, to be
that
fair.
that too? But like, what do you like? I mean, obviously you're gonna go play these shows, but you and your wife, like, what are you guys most excited to see as being like the first time, kind of probably going to the Pacific Northwest and experience this?
There's a lot. Like the trees alone, like those huge, like beautiful old trees, like the big red oaks and stuff like that. Mountains. There's still an active volcano.
Yeah.
So we want to see that. But also like Portland for some reason is known for like bathhouses and things like that. So we're gonna like chill in one of those, I think, one of the days that we're there
Okay.
after Portland. But I mean, Seattle alone, I feel like has been like a bucket list since I was a kid. And so many of my favorite artists, like Death Cab and like that whole sub pop era, like
Yeah.
everyone's like in Seattle. So I think it would just feel very cool.
Yeah. Seattle and Portland are on the top of my, like towards the top of my list for sure. I mean, just like the music that's come out of the Pacific Northwest and just like
Yeah.
how like I've talked to a lot of people from Seattle and Portland, just how like chill and like opening they are to just everyone. Are just make it more reasons as to why I want to go there. I didn't
That's for
know
sure.
Portland was that known for bathhouses, so that's something I guess I could add to a list. I guess.
Yeah, I was like, this is a weird thing, but like, yes.
Well, hopefully those dates go well, and everyone rolls out for those. If anyone's listening, be sure to get tickets. I think you can already find tickets to links on your website, which will, like I said,
Yeah.
we'll get to links here in a little bit. Um, but I mean, just the dynamic that you and your wife have going on for setting up these doing all these shows and like the mentality behind everything that just it warms my heart. Like that's the perfect way to fucking do it.
I know, right? And like it's just so nice you always have like your support system there. I'm like, this is just the best way to do music at this stage in my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're killing it. You're doing great things.
Thank you.
Um, like we've kind of mentioned, Lighter is recently out, and it does sound great. I'm stoked to also see what this new mood ring, if that becomes the name, is going to be. I know this episode's going to be dropping early July, so people that are listening to this, definitely go. I'll have links. Make sure you're checking out and staying up to date to see when that other song is coming out. Um, before we kind of, I know we kind of just jumped a lot of over the places, um, but is there anything I missed with Lighter that you want the people to know about that I might not have brought up?
Um, I don't think so. Like, I don't know. I'm just still like so pumped about it. If you like the song, I do have some cool Lighter merchandise that'll be dropping soon. I do all of that myself. My day job, I work in embroidery,
Okay.
so like hat game is strong.
Yeah, the I gotta say the Pure XTC hats are fucking sick. Because
Thank you,
they're like the right amount of just like minimal that just like pop off super hard.
thank you.
One question I did have. So you released the teaser video for Lighter. Can we expect a music video for Lighter at some point in the future?
Maybe we'll see how I feel.
Okay.
I thought it would be cool to do a music video. I have the premise for one. It's just like with doing everything DIY, I'm like, is this something I should add to my plate? It seems like people are more into like watching just the random clips. So
Mm,
I might just kind of do something like that for socials at the very least.
yeah,
But yeah, music
yeah,
videos are so cumbersome.
yeah. It's kind of crazy, the evolution of like bands and their music videos. Because I know even for me, I used to be really big into like the storylines,
Yeah,
archetype of a music video, and then just like the more minimal ones, that have come about. Like those, I end up falling more and more in love with, and then I'm just like, dude, I don't even know what I want to pay attention to. I mean, most of the society has gotten so hooked on TikTok where it's kind of screwed up
yeah,
everyone's attention spans. So that
yeah.
probably doesn't help at all.
It does not. They're like, oh, I love the first 45 seconds, but it's a little long for me.
Right? Like what happened after the first minute? I don't know.
Yeah. Like sometimes like when we have friends over, we just play old music videos like on YouTube. Like we've been super into butt rock lately. Like we were listening to like Nickelback last night and it was like actually like supreme. But oh man, Nickelback made me forget where I was going with that. Oh, we were like, man, back in the day, all they had to do was stand in a field and play their instruments. And it was like an Amy Lee, I can't remember that song. Broken. Was it Seether?
That I don't remember.
I'm looking at you for help. Okay, I'm getting a head nod. It was Seether, but yeah, they were just out in the field looking like broody playing their instruments. I'm like, I wish it were that easy now.
Well, I mean, this is your chance. You can bring it back. You just go stand in a field. I mean, there's got to be a field around Kansas City somewhere, right?
I mean, there's a lot of fields. I could find a field for sure.
Okay. Well, if you do end up dropping this video, I will make sure that I will watch the entire thing for you.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry.
I appreciate it.
All right, so we're gonna kind of transition to the middle half of these episodes, which I mean, this is obviously beers with bands. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes because I'll definitely do that for you. But Taylor, I know you are drinking something in front of you today.
Yes.
What are you sipping on today?
I'm in my like weird cocktail phase. Like I've been really into like learning new cocktails and things. And I wanted to make like palomas. So
Okay.
I did like grapefruit, cucumber water. What else did I put in this? Lime, like a little bit of lemonade, and a lot of tequila. By Jose Cuervo.
And like, what would you rate it? How's it tasting?
It's like a 10 out of 10. Like everything is infused. I made it yesterday. So like
Nice.
everything is just at its like peak.
Hell yeah.
It's a good drink. You don't realize you're drinking, which is kind of scary.
uh, and I just had to go classic on this episode. Got a good old PBR, Tall Boys.
Yes.
Can't go wrong. Um, one cool thing you kind of mentioned in your emails to me is you actually got to do a collab with the brewery to do your own beer brew. I don't know how they would
Yeah, yeah,
how they consider it. And it was a hazy blood orange IPA, um, which sounds delicious.
yeah.
And you got lucky enough where it sold out all in the first night.
Yeah. And
Like
I
that's
miss
crazy.
that beer now. Like I'm like, I would love to have a summer of pure ecstasy right now. And it had like a little bit of cinnamon in there too. Like it was just a really good like end of September beer.
Nice. Uh, and I don't know if you just mentioned it. Well, what did they like? Give it a special like nickname or title for that run?
Yeah, they let me name it. They let me pick out the flavoring. And I was actually there on brew day and got to like do everything, like the whole process.
Oh wow!
So that was really cool.
And what did you name it for that run?
It was called A Summer of Pure Ecstasy, and
Okay.
it had like a little tongue design on it. It was cute. Oh, I miss that beer. It ended up being like 7.5%. It was not supposed to be that high, and they're like, do you want us to add more? I can't remember what it was to the mix so like we can like make it go a little further. I'm like, no, I love my friends. Make it 7.5. They're gonna love this shit. And it sold out in like one night. I was like, dang.
Well, I think that just means you got to hit them up and be like, "Hey, it did so well the last time. Let's
Down
do it again.
to
Let's run it back."
maybe. I might. We'll see how the summer turns out. I was
Right.
celebrating last summer. So hopefully we have something to celebrate this year too.
Yeah. Well, no, that's always cool when musicians and breweries can kind of do that collab. I know. Um, so I'm originally from Iowa, but I live in the Twin Cities now. So I know a few bands up here have gotten to partner up with their local breweries to do some of those. Some friends back home have done it, and just like the things that they come up with are, I mean, I drink PBRs 90% of the time. So anything that like
Yeah.
comes up and it like, oh, they're like, oh, it's got peach in it. I'm like, you can put peach in a fucking beer. What the fuck's going on? They always come out super good and super sweet, and I try and collect as many of those cans as I can for all the homies.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept like 4 or 5 cans. I'm like, I look like a hoarder. I need to get rid of a few.
Well, I at least drank them all. I just like I cut off the tops so I could just drink it and then just save the can itself.
Yeah.
But but no, you can't get rid of those. If you who cares if people call you hoarder? Like that's your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but that's like I said, that's fucking awesome that you're able to do that collab. Hopefully, you get to do another one in the future. But that's kind of like the little beer segment for this episode. Now we're going to kind of transition to my favorite part of the episodes, which are always the storytelling part of the episodes, and the whole reason that this podcast even exists.
Yep.
As I normally say, this is where we just kind of hear some stories from your time in music, whether it's shows, tours, time recording, um, anything horrendous to tremendous, or any adjective in between.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. God, I wish I had you on my like over here as a part of the podcast because she retains more funny stuff than I do. I just like endure it. I'm like, what just happened to us? Because like sometimes the weirdest stuff happens to us and I can never remember exactly. Do you have any like go-tos for me really quick?
I mean, she's always free to slide in too, as well, if you want to tag her in.
Like tour stories like of like wild stuff that's happened to us while traveling.
I think we're funny. I think our funny stuff has happened to us. Like when we're invited to like the biggest lesbian festival, but we didn't go to a museum. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that's
weird.
true. So when we were in Palm Springs, like there was like it's called Dinah Shore. It's the largest like lesbian festival in the world. And they're like all in one place. It is a very feral environment. And her and I like get there. It was in Margaritaville. We get there and we're like, oh, there's robes. And then we like unpacked like our little like bar that we had like in our suitcase essentially. Like instead of buying alcohol in the resort, we got like a big thing of vodka, and Minute Maid came out and brought me like flats of aguas frescas. It's like our favorite drink. It's like the best mixer ever. So we had like 3 flats of like aguas frescas and like aha water. And we like get to our room. We're in our robes. We had an edible, and I had a sound check the next day. Like we just got to chill that day. And we're like walking around the resort, like I'm in my robe still. I was like, I'm not putting clothes on to go out here. And just it was like an entire experience. I played the show. We took an edible from a woman that pulled it out of her purse loose. We're like, loose peach ring. Okay, we're in the desert, why not? So that happened. And then the next day we were flying home, and we were supposed to go to a pool party before we left, and we're like, should we just like go to an art museum like before we go? So we just dipped out on all of the fun and did that. Like so I guess like funny things don't happen to us. We're just weird. We just like to go and do like weird off the wall things.
In your defense, though, like I don't know if I'd want to go to a pool party before getting on a plane.
Yeah.
Like one, like pool, and then 2, like sunburn, and then you got to sit on a plane. Like I'd rather probably go to the museum also.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
yeah,
That's fair. But yeah, that was a good time. Like the California tour itself, just the visuals of everything. I'd never been that far south.
oh yeah,
So that was just like a whole experience. We took the Pacific Coastliner down. Have you done that?
I have not.
Ooh, that is a good time. Like it takes you like right on the ocean. Like we took it from LA to San Diego. It's like 2 hours on the train. You're not dealing with any of the traffic, and it was a good experience.
Dude, hell yeah. Yeah, I almost took that train last October. I flew out to visit my friend in San Diego, and we went up to Anaheim to catch a show at okay,
Chain
at
reaction.
yeah, we went to Chain Reaction. And it was kind of one of those things where it was like, oh, we should take the train, that way we can kind of just both of us like get to enjoy ourselves at the show.
Yeah.
And then it was also, I had to fly home the very next day, so it was like
Ooh,
we ended up just driving to Anaheim, staying in a hotel, and then driving all the way back to San Diego so I could get to my flight in the morning.
dang.
But yeah, otherwise we would have taken the train. I was really looking forward to it, and then we
Yeah.
didn't.
Next time.
Yeah, it's on the list. Okay. What would you say, out of your time doing all these shows and getting to experience, these shows in different cities, what's been your favorite show that you've played so far?
Ooh, that's so hard. Um, I think maybe New York was probably my favorite. I was living there before I moved to Kansas City. Like I'd finally gotten there. I lived there like for 3 years, and then the pandemic hit. But I think playing that, because all of my friends until that point, including my mom, like this was the first time she really got to see me like do the thing. And they're all used to seeing me as a drummer. So it was like very like weird for everyone. Like that and the Baltimore show, those were like very sentimental. But as far as like huge, massive, like milestone shows, I would probably say Boulevardia. It's like a festival in Kansas City. And I got to play with like Dashboard and Jenny Lewis, and
Okay.
like just some like high school heroes,
Right.
like being able to share like a bill with them and playing in front of I'd say like 1,000 people were probably there. But that or Pride, like just those big shows, like out of your body moments are really cool.
hmm No, yeah, those. I mean, that's awesome that you got to play with basically like, yeah, high school heroes. I know, um, got to the band that I was with was on like the same bill one year as like Q's What You Aim For, but like we opened for them, and I was like,
Oh,
dude, I don't give a shit what anyone in this crowd is thinking. Like I was hammered singing along because that's my fucking like childhood right there. Well, high
yeah.
school teen years, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember them. They were like the shit back then. I think we probably were in the same same headspace there. All those
Yeah.
bands.
Like, I just had something, I completely lost it, so we'll ignore that one. Um, always one fun thing about being on the road is getting to experience these. I know we talk about like experiencing all these cities, but it's also cool to experience food in these cities.
Yeah.
What's been like, what's one meal that you always think of as you look back on all these towns that you've hit, that you're like, fuck, I want to get back to this spot at some point so I
Yeah.
can try this again?
Ooh, there was this taco place in Venice, and they made them like Tijuana style. I had never heard of that. Like those deep fried like
Oh,
tacos.
okay.
And they had this like really good spicy sauce. I would definitely revisit that place, and they have these really good like teas, and it's bottomless. And yeah, I would revisit that. But I also think of like, don't make fun of me, but Red Lobster. We have like this like running joke. It was literally in our vows that like for every accomplishment like that Pure XTC, like any kind of stride I make, she'll take me to Red Lobster to celebrate. So like if I'm eating Red Lobster, it means I've done a good job. I have done something amazing. And after every tour, we come home, we're in sweatpants, just like, oh, can't believe we just did all of that. Endless shrimp. So I think of Red Lobster honestly for tour food.
I just love it.
It's a lot. I know it's a
Yeah,
lot.
no, it's that's great. Because it's like, yeah, you just got done doing these activities, but like it's like the one, yeah, it's like the reward, but it's also like the one comfort food as you like try and like
Yeah,
settle back into like reality for a few days or however long.
it's the 12 biscuits that just really send me into a slumber, you know?
So to think about like all your time in the studio recording past songs, present songs. Um, like, what's been like the best moment in the studio where like something, like you came in with this idea and it just like, those moments where like it just clicks perfectly and you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, like this is where it's going, or this is where it needs to go. Like, what was,
Yeah.
take me back to like one of those moments.
Ooh, I mean, I remember Lighters recently because it's like the most, it's the newest song. And it took me like all winter to get that one right. It was such a sound shift that it took me all freaking winter. Like all of my winter blues went into that one song, is what it feels like. And when I finally figured it out, like you're like a lighter, that, like, that one hit really hard. I was like, whoa, this sounds like it could be a radio song. Like, this is probably the best thing I've ever written. And it took me so long to get the second verse right. Like, how do I close this up? I had everything written except for the second verse. And when I finally had that, like, aha moment, I was sitting in the studio, which is here. Like, I record everything in our second bedroom.
Oh, nice.
And I just remember coming out here and like pausing Housewives, and I'm like, I need you to listen to this. Like, tell me if this is as good as I think it is. And she was like, whoa. And that's like the most recent, I think, aha moment.
That's that's awesome. I mean, it's great that like you said, this weekend was probably one of the best, well received weekends for a new song coming out. Um, and you kind of found that aha moment on this specific song as well. So it's kind of cool how that's like a double click as it's kind of like projecting into this summer and seeing where things are going to go from here. And I just hope things continue to build, and I'm stoked to see what you come up with next.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, dude. Every fingers crossed. Hopefully, you know, like I said, everything keeps going well. Hopefully, those Seattle shows and Pacific Northwest shows are packed, and you get to experience everything you want to while you're up there. Hopefully, the bathhouses go well, and just check out those trees, check out those rocks, and hopefully, like it's an action-packed show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. If anyone's looking for merch, music, or Pure Ecstasy in general, where can they find it?
PureExtasyMusic.com. It'll have all of my socials there, my merch, everything you'd want to know.
And depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or you watch the YouTube version, check the description down below. It'll have links to literally everything that Taylor has going on. Make sure you click those hyperlinks. Go follow Pure Ecstasy everywhere. Stay up to date. Be ready for those Pacific Northwest shows. Be ready for future shows. Be ready for future singles. Um, I mean, like I said, I'm stoked to see what the next single is going to be like, and how you follow up Lighters, because I mean, all you can do is just keep going up. There's no backpedaling now, so I'm stoked to see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm like very excited. It's been a wild weekend. I'm like, I want this all the time.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, other than that, Taylor, this is a great Sunday. Hopefully, you're able to kind of, well, you still got one more day off, so hopefully, know, you party a little bit harder tonight. Get ready for work on Tuesday. Still fly high off these vibes and just keep it going. But I mean, this is a great chat. I'm stoked that we finally got to do this. I know we've been kind of mutuals for a while, and I'm stoked that we finally got to get one in the books. And maybe we'll get you back on the show in the future, and we'll do another one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that.
Oh yeah. Well, other than that, like I said, everyone go follow Taylor and Pure Ecstasy, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.